Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Ronald Reagan said these words. Really listen to what he said. Politics is not a bad profession. If you succeed, there are many rewards. If you disgrace yourself, you can always write a book. Good morning, everybody. Here comes, of course, our great Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a patriot with the Pledge of Allegiance. Stand up and be proud. Good morning. And a good morning to you. Good morning. Good. Look outside at that blue sky. Woo! That feels good even sitting inside. And don't forget, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. Get ready for wintertime driving. And don't forget some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service at 734-6969. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our patriot give the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
You again?
I figured I'd do it this morning.
All right. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Attaboy, Wheels. And right now, let's just scoot right into the weather and find out what it is going to do or what it's planning on doing. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 300 west of Heyburn. Number to call, 678-3122. Hello, Roger. He's already sitting there at his desk listening right now. They're open Monday through Friday, 7 to 5:30, Saturday, 7 to 2. They've got all the best tools and equipment for you and help finish all and any of those construction projects. Get a hold of them today. They are the pros. K&R Rental, 256 South, 300 west of Heyburn, 678-3122. And here comes Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch on this Tuesday. A little bit frosty for this morning, but we will be warming up to about 39 under mostly sunny skies. Going to be nice. A little bit on the breezy side tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 21. Tomorrow, sunny skies, high of 41, a little bit on the breezy side. Wednesday night, partly cloudy skies, low of 30 for Thursday. We do have a slight chance of rain showers in the forecast with a high of 48. That's your weather on Zeb at the Ranch.
Hey, thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. Great job. Super good weather. She was spot on yesterday with the weather. And it's brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 300 west of Heyburn. And don't forget, they've got all the tools you need. Contact them today at K&R Rental, 678-3122. Really good folks at 256 South, 300 west of Heyburn. I want to get into a subject here this morning about hate. And I alluded to this yesterday, and we're going to talk about it in just a minute. And I want your phone calls because I really want your opinion. So stay tuned. We'll get into that in just a moment. Don't forget the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. And they've got their big sale coming up this Thursday at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for cattle consignments and information on the sale, 678-9411. Merv, May, Cade, Rogge, Lance, Udy, the sale that works for you. Get a hold of them today. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, Thursday, sale day, starting at 10 a.m. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 678-9411. Also, want to wish a very happy birthday to you. Janelle Ford is celebrating her birthday today. That is one of the nicest, friendliest, loveliest ladies, and she's always got a smile on her face, and I just think the world of her. So, Janelle Ford, if you're listening, happy birthday. Nice lady. I want to remind you that I've been going into Daryl's Cleaners for literally years and years and years and years, taking all my clothes in there when I was really traveling a lot. I mean, once a week I had a great big bag of clothes I'd stop in there, and they come back looking brand spanking new. I'm telling you, they're the best cleaners in the world, and I've worked with a lot of cleaners all over the country. I mean, from New York all the way to California. They are the best. They take real pride in making sure that your clothes are just right. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Kevin and Cindy and the whole crew just waiting to see you and serve you at Daryl's Cleaners. Want to remind you that later on this morning at 10:06, one of our favorite segments on this program, Dr. History, is going to be on the air 10:06 this morning, so don't forget that. And somebody else that's always on our program on Thursdays, Rita. But today, we want to remind you about Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459 for all of your heating, cooling, and, of course, all of your electrical needs, including all of your furnace filters. Don't forget that. It's going to get a lot chillier. Ramsey Heating and Electric, open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Yeah, buddy, you know that they provide warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric. I'm going to ask a question here, and honestly, I want you to give me your thoughts on this issue. I am sick and tired of the liberals in our area and across the United States yelling, bigot, hate monger, and you're full of hate. I've had enough of this, and I'm pointing my finger at many of those in the Democratic Party. I'm pointing my finger at those that are not the brightest bulbs in the fixture, including an attorney from Twin Falls that wrote an editorial the other day, and I've used this many times yesterday. One sentence stood out more than ever in the op-ed. It said, and he said, his name is Britt Groom, and I'm going to try to contact that guy next week and see if he's got the backbone to come on this program. But he said, it is high time we commit publicly and privately to embracing diversity. And I really took that with offense, and I'll tell you why. A lot of us, including myself, you have the principles and the biblical teachings that you try to adhere and live your life by. Oh yeah, I'm as guilty or more guilty than anyone for not living up to the standards that I should have had many, many times in my life. I fell short. But I still have those principles and those teachings to fall back. Very good, thank you. Folks, I apologize for that. Nothing we can do. Equipment malfunction. I apologize, but I certainly hope we didn't lose our audience to go over to another station. My goodness, that would be a horrendous crime. Anyway, we're back on the air. We were talking about hate. And I want to get into that this morning, and I want your calls and I want your viewpoints. But I've got to catch up on some of the commercials. Bear with me just a minute, and then your calls will be taken, please. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland and Burley, and also 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Absolutely, they are America's Diner. Caller, I'll be there in a moment. Stand by. Don't forget breakfast, lunch, and dinner anytime, all the time, serving you with the best, greatest, most delicious menu items and really nice people serving you. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland and Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and it is America's Diner. Want to also remind you about some really nice people at Pomerell Place, and I've been telling you about these folks for a couple of weeks, and I really, really urge you that if you have a senior in your family that is living by themselves and they're lonesome, and of course there's a lot of safety hazards for living by yourself, and they don't take care of themselves the way they should. They don't take their medicine on time a lot of times, and maybe they're not feeding themselves the way they should with the best nutrition. Check out Pomerel Place. Absolutely, 1301 Bennett Street in Burley, a place for senior living. Very nice people. 677-8212, Pomerel Place. Caller, I apologize for going off the air. Couldn't help it, but good morning. You're on the air.
Okay, Zeb. Diversity has three reasons for wanting, by some people that want it. First is to put people on a guilt trip. Second, it is used to divide this country. Third, diversity will divide this country into many different countries. And that's the danger of diversity.
No, I agree with you.
In my opinion.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I don't believe, and I'm going to say this, especially for some of the clowns in the circus there at Twin Falls, I don't believe that we should be forced into accepting diversity. I think diversity in a society where our culture is at risk is absolutely, it's asinine.
Well, I went through something like this over 50 years ago back east, and I see what's happening right here in Twin Falls, and it's going to be a repeat of, like I say, what I've already been through.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, let me ask you this, and Wheels, watch on the feedback just a touch, if you would, please. But, Tony, you've been around a long time, and you've seen a lot of different politicians and different administrations and different problems in the world. But let me ask you this. Are we, conservatives, are we bigots and hate mongers because we stand for something that has been accepted ever since the good Lord walked the earth? We believe in the moral values, and we don't accept today's filth and liberalism. Why are we the bigots and the hate mongers?
Politics. We have people up there that don't care what happens to this country as long as we have a certain group of people that would keep voting them into power.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what it is. It's a personal drive for power for some people, and they don't care what happens to the rest of us.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm so glad you called and had the patience to wait until we got everything organized again. Tony, God bless you and Mary. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. You know, this really bothers me that the left is throwing out, you're a hater. You're a bigot. You're a hate monger. Oh, you've got to change your ways. Oh, you've got to change your ways and accept our way of liberalism and acceptance. I can't do that. And I won't do that. There was another story in our wonderful, illustrious Times News the other day, and this paragraph really bothered me. It said, quote, "Meanwhile, we're left with a larger question of how to deal with those of our residents who still harbor hate in their hearts. They're a small sliver of our population, to be sure, but they're a toxin, nevertheless, and we must do everything to keep this toxin from spreading." I've been called a lot of things, but I haven't been called a toxin. And why in the world can't we stand on our principles? If we don't like something, or we don't like someone being here, or we don't like someone's politics, or we don't like someone's advocacy of acceptance into our society, why are we called toxins? Caller, I'm going to ask your patience just to stay with me for a minute. I want to remind everybody about our good friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox with the home comfort systems. Absolutely, you may qualify for up to a $1,600 rebate on a new Lennox home comfort system. All you have to do is check it out at Ramsey Heating and Electric today. Call them at 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Real quick, too, caller, I'll be right there in 30 seconds. Dino's Septic Service in Rupert. Absolutely doing a job you don't want to do, and I don't either. Septic tanks pumped and sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. Ooh. And I got that big fancy truck called Smells Cargo on the way. Fast, fair, friendly service. Rupert number to call, 436-6526. Burley number to call, 678-1638. They are the best at what they do. Call them today. Dino Septic Service in Rupert. Caller, thank you for your patience. Good morning.
You're welcome, sir. The reason, my opinion, the reason they go to start calling us names is because they have no facts to stand on, so they want to put us on the defense, so we're defending ourselves.
I think that's a good analogy, but I guess what I would ask back to you, Doug, and I know you're a Christian, I know you're a good man, I know you're a giver to many causes, but why do we, you and I and others like us that are conservative Christians, why do we have to lower our standards to accept their lower class standards and beliefs?
Well, they want us to lower our standards. I will not lower my standards. I will stand for what I believe in. I will stand up for God when it comes time. And I hope I have the strength, and I pray I have the strength to do what I need to do.
You know, whoa, right there. You just said something that is a mouthful, and we could talk about for hours and hours, days and days. You know, I wonder how much courage I'm going to have in the moment of need to stand up as being a Christian and also standing up as being what I would hope to be a good, fair, honest person. I can't accept lower standards. I will not accept today's liberalism with the acceptance of the homosexual agenda and transgenderism. I can't do that. I'm not about to accept the cultural diversity coming in and replacing our American culture. So I guess I'm going to have to be a man that's going to have to look at myself in the mirror and make sure that I stand up in the time needed.
Exactly. And I try to look at myself in the mirror every morning, and I just basically ask myself, did I do good yesterday? Did I treat people fairly?
That's a good idea. Yes.
And if I didn't, I try to reflect and see what I can do to change it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I'm a man that needs help every day.
Yeah, me too.
You know, but the reason they do that is because they have no facts to stand on, so they go strictly to the name calling to get us on the defense, and that's my opinion.
You know, but let's just go right to the principles of what's going on in this area. That if you and I do not want, let's say, the refugees or illegal aliens coming into this country, and specifically into this area, why are we filled with hate? And why are we bigots? Because we have a belief that that's not right and not correct.
I'm speechless right there, because it's not right, and they know it's not right. I mean, deep down inside, they know it's not right, but I personally feel there's a money trail, and that's what they're trying to keep covered up. That's what they're trying to keep coming in, is the money trail.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, but it goes back to this attorney in Twin Falls. His name was Britt Groom, and I really took issue with this guy and the way he was trying to reprimand and chastise the rest of us. But when you say something like, it is high time we commit publicly and privately to embracing diversity, why? Why am I going to be forced to become one more sheep in the flock that is going to be led over the cliff? Why should I follow their ways and standards and means when I don't agree with it?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And they do not want to follow ours because they don't agree with it.
That's right.
I mean, we're a nation that was built on diversity, and I'll try to make this quick so you can get to the next caller.
Yes, sir.
But we were built on immigrants. Immigrants built this nation, but they come through Ellis Island. They were screened. If they weren't healthy, they were sent back. There were several of them that were sent back that were not allowed in.
That's right.
And when they got here, they were not handed a brand new cell phone. They were not guaranteed housing. They were not given food stamps. They were not given a couple grand a month or whatever it is they give them on welfare.
Yeah.
They had to have a sponsor here willing to help them get settled in so they could support themselves.
I agree. Doug,
bringing them in where we got to pay for them, that's what I'm against.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a point I'm going to pursue a little bit more this next half hour. Doug, I really appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
Okay. And
thank you.
Everybody, let's remember our senior centers.
Absolutely.
Rent them for holiday parties, rent the centers. Help them out. Do what you can.
All right. Hey, Doug, thanks. Right now, caller, I'm going to ask your patience. I've got to get this break in right now at 8:30, and I want to say thank you to Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. They've got all the Bobcats. Oh, you need a Bobcat excavator. You need maybe a different size or shape. They've got them all. And you maybe need to do some work out behind your barn or in your barn or whatever. Oh, well, you don't know how to run one? Well, let me tell you, Bunky, they can teach you. They got a great big old sandbox out behind the business, and they'll teach you how to run it. Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. South Lincoln, Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with old Juan and the crew. Good folks. Know all about equipment rentals, retail equipment sales. Barry Equipment and Rental. Stop in and see them today. Real quick before I get our next caller on, don't forget Sophie's Chatterbox. Oh, my goodness sake, Sophie, with the delicious cookies from her bakery. We give them away, a dozen cookies away every Monday. Thank you, Sophie's Chatterbox. Right on the square in Rupert. Absolutely wonderful people at 530 East Street. Bakery, restaurant, it's good. Sophie's Chatterbox in Rupert. Thank you so much for all your help. And caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
A nice frosty morning. Did you wear your Green Bay stocking cap today?
I'm not very proud of Green Bay right now. I thank you for the gift, of course, but I'm not very proud of Green Bay for a couple of reasons. And one, I'm not supporting NFL football right now at all. Go ahead.
I realize that. You know, there's a place in Minnesota, I think it's called Minneapolis, where these Somalis have all migrated to or sent to or whatever, and we don't like these people because their thoughts are different than ours. But are they any different than this Hollywood crowd? Are they really?
Well, the Hollywood elitists, which they think they are a group of people where their combined IQs probably would be hard-pressed to beat out a bicycle spoke. I have not much use for the Hollywood crowd, many of which never even made it through high school, some of which barely made it through high school, very few of which ever had college degrees. But because of the job that they're in, they're so-called stars, all of a sudden their attitude and their aptitude goes up to 130 points. That's ridiculous and silly.
Yes, and you know, another thing, hate is a terrible thing to have because you wake up every morning and think of how you can hate more.
Yeah, that's really true.
Not a good thing.
No, that's really a good point.
Forgive and, well, not forget, but forgive.
Well, the thing is about the left, and then I got another call waiting, and I don't want to beleaguer those folks any longer than I did you. The thing about the left is they want conformity. They don't want anybody to have freedom of speech. They don't believe in that because or freedom of thought. But they want everybody to join their little Mickey Mouse club, and everybody join in, sing Kumbaya, sit around the fire, make chocolate s'mores, and I can't do that.
Well, it's no different than those Somalis in Minneapolis. I mean, they get their ways, and they're not willing to even compromise. They want it their way or the highway.
I agree. Keith, I really do appreciate your calls in the morning. You get everything going. I appreciate it, man. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Caller, I'll be right there. Please do not forget our dear friends with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I love that word, rehabilitation, because they can help you get back to being you. Absolutely. They're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call, 678-1191. You got an injury, you got a sprain, a strain, whatever. Hey, listen, Bunky, I'm telling you, get over there, give them a call. They have the best, underline that word best, physical therapist anywhere, anytime. And that hydrotherapy pool. Oh, that helped me a lot. It'll help you. They will help you at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation in Burley. Number to call, please do it today for your benefit, 678-1191. Caller, thank you. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, your caller before this last one was, you were talking about they have to, accept it, the diversity, all this stuff. Well, I'm sorry, man, do you know my family and the diversity in it? Case in point, son-in-law, Native American. What does that make my grandchildren? Half, or quarter, actually quarter. I have first cousins who married Maoris, Tongans. One was married to a man as black as a piece of coal. Does that mean I love his kids and him and his kids any less than I do the ones who married the Caucasians right out of Europe? No, it doesn't. But don't point a finger at me and say I'm not diverse, because you don't know. And my sister adopted 2 little Hispanic girls.
Yeah.
Don't point your finger at me, buddy.
Yeah, I really appreciate your calling in, because I've always had good, engaging conversations with you, and I appreciate that. When I am told that I'm a hater and a bigot because I don't go along with the liberalism and their conformity, that really offends me, because, just like you, maybe my family is a lot of German Lutherans that are Caucasians, but my friends and associates all through my life have been of various races, ethnicities, etc. And I get sick and tired that the left, including this dipstick attorney in Twin Falls, would say that it's high time we commit publicly and privately to embracing diversity. What I don't like is things crammed down my throat at my expense, which the refugee program is, to me and you, an expense.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an expense. And, I don't have enough money to clothe and put shoes on my children, but I've got to clothe in somebody else's shoes. Children who came here because the government felt sorry for them. Well, then you pay for it out of your pocket. I felt sorry for them. You let them sleep in your bedrooms.
It's just the point that I hate the word. There I go. I used it. I hate the word hate. I hate the word bigot. I hate the word hate monger. But, why is it? And tell me this, my dear, why the left today are so stupid, so arrogant, and so much of an elitist attitude, because they are telling us what we should do and not accepting the rights of people to have and form their own opinions.
You just drove me crazy. This is another thought, too. It's like the people who say, I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-choice. You can choose to get an abortion, or you can choose to have your baby. Oh, I choose to have it. What? You're going to have your baby? What? How dare you? You know? Wait a minute. I thought you were pro-choice, and I had a choice. Yeah.
I tell you what, I really do appreciate your call, as always, and thank you for chiming in. Be safe out there. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice lady right there. Here's something that really bothered me yesterday. How many of you heard this? A reporter, and I cannot for the life of me remember the reporter's name, but a reporter said yesterday that standing for our Pledge of Allegiance, or our national anthem, is a form of white nationalism. I got to tell you, folks, my little spacecraft took off, flew around the world twice, landed, and I was really teed off. Now they're playing the race card on the liberal left, saying that if we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem, we are showing without a doubt our white nationalism, as if white nationalism was something bad. Oh, my goodness, this really rubbed me raw yesterday. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Hi, how are you doing, Chris?
I just love that we are still having this conversation in the United States of America. And who are the real Native Americans? I don't know if I have an ounce of Native American blood in me, but I do know my ancestors came over shortly after the Pilgrims did, you know. And so I think I'm Native American because I'm several generations away from the original countries that have blood in my veins. The other thing that's so wonderful about America is that we have such a diversity of cultures. How do you think we came up with some of the great ideas that we have gotten over these years without that diversity that came here, the brain power, the energy, the desire to be better? And that's all.
You know, Chris, I sit here and I think about what you just said, and I go back to the license plate that is used for the state of Oklahoma. And basically it says the home of Native America. And in a way, understand what I'm saying, please, in a way that offends me. It offends me because, you know something, all peoples of the world were very transportable to the point where they looked and searched for other continents and other areas to live. All peoples of the world throughout the world's history. And when we isolate things and say that they are true Native Americans, that really offends me. I was born and raised in this country. Now, am I not any less a Native American than anyone else? Answer that.
No. And if you look into your blood, the various countries that have probably contributed to you, but that's what's made America so great. And if you were born here, you're a Native American. We need to keep in mind that the Native Americans even came from somewhere.
Well, I was corrected. I can't remember the exact location. I was out of state. I was doing an event someplace and got into a heated discussion with a party that kind of chimed in on the conversation, unwanted. But this party really criticized me when I said American Indian. And we were talking about the various tribes, be it Comanche, be it Apache, be it Blackfoot, whatever. And he said, how dare you refer to them as Indians? They are Native Americans. And I said, well, wait a minute, Buster. I said, really, in essence, they are no more Native American than I am. And oh, my goodness, you could see the smoke plume at that point.
Well, I agree. And the thing about it is, as far as we know, which is maybe not a lot, they were the people that were occupying this space when a lot of our pilgrims came here.
Yeah.
And yet, over time, we have been a cohesive group of people that make this wonderful country, and our diversity is just what makes the United States. Put it that way.
I agree with that.
Country in the world.
I agree with that, but you know, for somebody, some twit, trying to tell me in a newspaper op-ed that I need to absolutely embrace all this cultural diversity coming in at my expense, your expense, other taxpayers' expense, and lose our culture and basically treat it as secondhand. I'm against that. That's what I'm talking about this morning.
Yeah, and see, I have relatives that I know. My mother-in-law, her family came across the ocean from Japan to come to the United States. And when she put her feet on the shore, she became an American in every way.
Bingo.
And yet, that is wonderful. And my relatives that came from Europe when they got to the United States, they danced because they were here. Now, aren't we lucky that people wanted to come here that bad and become citizens of this new world that makes up what we have now? We should say thank you to them all.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you something else. I want to get your quick response on this because I've got to go to the weather forecast. But now you, of course, with your family, wonderful, wonderful Japanese descendants in your family. God bless them. I've learned so much, and I've got so many friends that are of that descendancy. But I absolutely, and I mean this, Chris, I will not refer to hyphenated Americans. I don't care if it's African American. I don't care if it's Native American. I won't do that because if we're here and citizens, we're all just simply put Americans.
That's what I love about this wonderful country, the United States of America. And as long as we don't trip over those stupid little pebbles, we will continue to be great.
I agree, and I can't thank you enough for calling in. Thank you very, very much. Have a wonderful day.
For what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, it just irritates me. A conversation not too long ago where I was corrected when I said I am not going to hyphenate Americanism. Oh, well, that's an offense to the African Americans. I don't care. I'm not going to do that. If they are citizens here, I really don't want to become racist and mention color or ethnicity. Who cares? We're fellow Americans, and I hear this from the left all the time. Whoa, boy, you denigrated them. You didn't call them by the right name. I don't call anybody by any name. I want to be called an American. They want to be called an American. And if we get to where we're hyphenating things and lumping people in different categories, putting them over here like a monopoly board, well, you're on Park Avenue and you're over here on Baltic Avenue, etc. Not going to do that. Weather forecast. Well, I still have some semblance of a low blood pressure. Brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with Dr. Christine Pickup, the doctor of audiology. What a very, very smart person. And believe me, she knows sound. She knows hearing, and she can help you hear what you want to hear again. Let me tell you, I'd be sure and call for a hearing screening today. I did. It helped me, and I'll guarantee you she is fantastic. Dr. Christine Pickup at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Number to call, 312-0957. Right now, here's the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for us up at the ranch on this Tuesday. A little bit frosty for this morning, but we will be warming up to about 39 under mostly sunny skies. Going to be nice. A little bit on the breezy side tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 21. Tomorrow, sunny skies, high of 41. A little bit on the breezy side Wednesday night. Partly cloudy skies, low of 30 for Thursday. We do have a slight chance of rain showers in the forecast with a high of 48. That's your weather on Up at the Ranch.
Oh, my goodness sakes, it sounds not too bad. Callers, I'll be right with you. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup and her staff, and they welcome Katie Bingham to Mount Harrison Audiology, new patient care coordinator. Nice people over there. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. By the way, don't forget Lennox Home Comfort Systems. It could be cold and snowy outside. You'll be warm and comfy on the inside with a Lennox Home Comfort System. Check it out at Ramsey Heating and Electric today. Call them at 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, saving you money. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Just one quick note, what I've summarized on what's been talked about this morning is the refugees they're bringing in do not want to become Americans. The illegals coming in that sneak across the border, they don't want to become Americans. And that is the biggest problem. Like the guy that wrote that article, you said he was a lawyer?
Yes, he said he was a lawyer, yes.
Okay.
I'm chuckling, Doug, because when I start talking about lawyers, I got about 9,350 lawyer jokes.
Well, I'll give you 352 one of these days. But he wouldn't hire anybody for his firm who would not want to promote his firm and become part of his firm. He wouldn't hire somebody who would be against his firm and try to take it down. the same as bringing people into the U.S. We don't want to bring them in if they want to take our country down.
You know, Doug, I don't think I'm wrong on this, but the fact is the left hates me and others for saying this, but hate and calling us hate mongers and saying that we're against diversity and everything. Wait a minute. Diversity to the point where are we going to have that melting pot to where everybody wants to melt and mold into being Americans? Or are we going to have a fractured society that they're telling us on the left that we have to accept? I can't do that.
I can't either. But one thing that really amazes me is how when you get factual about how you feel, you know your heart, you know how you feel, and God knows your heart. Those are the only two things that really know how you feel. But yet the left can call us hate mongers when they have no idea how we feel and, you know, what we think.
Would you agree with this, that basically the left and liberals, and yes, let's call it like it is, the Democratic Party, wants a lowering of morality, a lowering of values so that we can all be lumped together like little sheep and our standards and our beliefs are lowered and we're all just a big part of their flock. And I can't and I won't do that.
I won't either. But I would love for that lawyer to come on and explain why he stated things the way he did. But I'll bet you a steak dinner he will not even return your phone call.
Well, I'm going to try to call him. I can't do it this week, but I'm going to try to call him for next week to see if he wants to come on. If he doesn't want to come out to the studio, which would really be putting his foot in unfriendly waters, I could do it over the telephone. But I just take offense at the chastisement for us that are conservatives, and I'm not going into that deal in Twin Falls over the pork and the pig and at the Islamic Center. I'm not even going to get into that because what was done there was wrong. Nobody should be subjected to that. But I am going to criticize him for his, I think, totally uneducated statement saying it's high time we commit publicly and privately to embracing diversity. And my question would be a simple three-word question, or three-letter question. Why? Why do we have to accept it?
Well, we've already accepted diversity. Like I've said, how was this country built? But it was built on people who wanted to become Americans. They did not want to bring their culture and their troubles here
That's
and
right.
inflict them on us. They wanted to leave their problems behind and become Americans.
It functioned on rules, the rule of law and regulations, and this is white, this is black, this is wrong, this is right, and I dare you to tell me that we have not got away from that, because we have.
We have. We really have. And anyway, I just wanted to touch up on that.
Doug, always appreciate you, buddy. Thanks much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, if somebody told me you have to accept this, you have to change your opinion, and you have to believe this way, you have to change your show, and you have to only promote liberalistic causes, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I am not going to be subjected, A, to being told what I can and can't say, B, accepting things that I don't believe in or are against the way I was raised or my standards or my Christianity, and C, what in the world is going on in this country that now standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and our national anthem is considered to be of racist quality? You tell me that we're not going to hell in a handbasket. Caller, I'll be right there. Please wait. I've got to tell everybody about our major sponsor, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations waiting to serve you, because doing the right thing matters. They say you better come on in and check it out, and it's true. We're going to see that angel dandruff on the roads and the ice and the slush and everything else. They've got all the tires for your safe wintertime driving. Absolutely, for your cars, like the Himalaya tire, WS2. Oh boy, great winter traction for your cars. Or the WinterCat SST for your pickups and SUVs. Get in there today. Don't put it off until all of a sudden you can't hardly get there. Do it today so you're ready for winter time driving. Best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, everything right there at all 7 locations. Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pauline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Yep. The best, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I got exactly a minute and a half. Go.
Hi, Zeb. In my opinion, the main difference in immigrants, if you want to call them that, whether they come legally or sneak over, is the fact of how much we can give them. They don't come to work anymore and make a place for themselves. It's how much we can give them.
You have a lot of credence in what you said, and I thank you for your call, and I'm going to rush and take one more before I go to the news. Thank you so much for your call. Thank you.
Bye.
Very good point. Very good point. Caller, quickly, I got 1 minute. Go.
Okay, I'll accept diversity, Zeb. I just will not accept them controlling what I do, my thoughts, how I speak.
Yep.
I really object to the fact that they want me to conform to their total way of life, and I do not believe that socialism and communism is a good way of living. I think it is absolutely horrible.
I agree.
I don't want anything to do with it, and I'm not going to accept it in any way.
Jerry, as a veteran, I just want a short answer on this, Jerry, because I'm running out of time. Are you, like I am, totally offended when these idiots, these nincompoops, say that standing for the pledge and the national anthem is a form of white nationalism and supremacy?
That flag is red, white, and blue, and it stands for every person that is an American in this country. I don't care what race, what creed, or where they came from.
God bless you.
If they are an American, it stands for them, and that's the only thing it stands for.
There you go. Jerry, you're a dear friend. I got to run to the news. God bless. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Well, don't trip on your way.
Okay. Thank you. Good conversation this morning, and thank you for all the people that called in. I appreciate it. I really, really do. We're going to take a little break right now, send it back over to Wheels at our main headquarters, and then we'll be back at 9:06 with the lady, Maria Espinoza, and it should be a very interesting conversation. Wheels, take it away. Oh, good morning. What a pretty, pretty day outside. Blue sky, sunshine. Good morning to Magic Valley. Everybody listening within the sound of my voice here, and for that matter, all over the United States. Thank you very much. Hey, we're with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, telling you to get ready for winter driving right around the corner. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
Western Way Services, I talk about the route service. It's so easy to get on the route service and have them pick up your garbage weekly. All you need to do is just write this number down, 734-6969. Call the number, tell them where you live. Bingo, garbage gone. They'll come pick it up. Wonderful people, always at your disposal. Western Way Services. You be sure and give them a call today. Really good folks, Western Waste Services. And by the way, I know a company that wants to help you get all your Christmas lights up. Yep, Forever Green Lawn and Tree Care. Number to call, write this one down too, 423-6454. And you know, a lot of us have trouble getting up on the old ladders, kind of shaking and baking a little bit. No, don't take a chance on getting hurt. They can help, and they'll put your lights up. That's right, they design custom fitting light strands to match the specific needs of your house or your business, and I urge you to give them a call for a free quote or to schedule an appointment. Forever Green Lawn and Tree Care at 423-6454. Please call them today. Really good folks. By the way, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering you the Lennox home comfort systems. Stay nice and toasty and warm inside during the winter with a home comfort system from Lennox and Ramsey Heating and Electric, and call the number 678-0459. We're going to have a wonderful lady on the program in just a moment. I'm really looking forward to visiting with her. And before we do, however, I also want to remind you about some of our other great folks that are friends of ours and serve you, like Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. My dear friend Joel Heward, family, staff, serving you and your family in a real time of need. When there's the passing of a loved one, they are there. They're there to help you always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. I urge you to write the number down. Remember, call them for more information. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number is 436-5636. Again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary. I don't believe I've ever had this lady on my program before, but I'm looking forward to having her again. And that's Maria Espinoza, the National Director of the Remembrance Project. Good morning, Maria, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Zeb. Thank you so much for having me on this morning. And I have not been on with you, but I'm excited to be here, and I hope that I can share with your listeners good information.
Maria, I'm going to be very blunt. That's the way I am on this program. And I'm going to tell you that right now, with the liberal left in this country and the antagonizing attitude they have against those of us that are conservative, I really want to see the refugee program stopped or studied a lot more than what it is for a vetting program. I really want to make sure that we, the citizens of this country, are protected first and foremost, and there's no more terrorist activities like what happened in Manhattan a couple of days ago. I am sick and tired of the liberal left saying that we need to embrace all these people coming in, and we don't know who the heck they are. Am I wrong?
Well, Zeb, you're a man after my own heart. So that's exactly how I feel. We need to stop all immigration immediately and vet those who are already here. Obviously, we have a problem here, and look at this individual brought in 23 others.
Yeah.
So that places Americans in high risk and in danger. And, you know, we never know when something like this horrific tragedy is going to take place.
Absolutely.
We have enough crime of our own, as you saw in Texas, of Americans committing crimes. Let's start protecting Americans and our country, Zeb. What is wrong with us?
Well, let me ask you this, Maria. I've been called everything from a bigot to a hate monger, and I kind of just brush that off my shoulder like dandruff. I don't care what the left calls me. I want you to explain. When it comes to vetting of these people coming in from whether it's the Middle East or if it's any trouble spot in the world, they are coming from war-torn countries. They do not have the luxury of carrying a private dossier that explains who they are, what they've done, where they come from. We're taking these people basically at their word, and our government, I think, in my opinion, is letting in trouble that absolutely is going to turn into a cancerous growth. Am I dead wrong on that?
No, you are absolutely right, and that's what is taking place. We attended a hearing just a few weeks ago here on the Hill in Washington, D.C. It was a House Judiciary hearing where Congressman Steve King from Iowa was asking the questions that you're alluding to right now, which is the vetting process. what happens when we cannot vet those who were not able to obtain the background information? And I forget the name of the department head who was being one of the witnesses, but she basically said that we let them in, and that's outrageous. And these elected officials were elected in order to uphold our constitutions and protect American and protect our country, and they're not doing that. And we should not care one bit what names that the left calls us. You know, we're the ones as Americans whose families are suffering, who are being killed. You know, our country just being overwhelmed and invaded by these individuals who don't particularly like the Western culture.
Okay, and it even goes a step further than that, Maria, and I want you to comment on this. The Kate Steinle shooting in San Francisco, and I'm not too proud to admit that I started crying, and I've always tried to be John Wayne, but I started crying when I heard her father talk about how she was shot and killed, and the sadness of this situation, being shot and killed by an illegal alien that had been deported 5 or 6 times previously, had been arrested for various crimes, and he literally just walked up and took this beautiful young girl's life and left her father standing there with a look of, why, Lord, why did this have to happen? It didn't have to happen, and these people living in these sanctuary cities absolutely should be shown to light, and they should be arrested and deported permanently. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Every single crime and killing committed by someone who should not have been in the country was a preventable crime, Zeb. And that's what we're raising awareness about with our Stolen Lives Quilt banners. Every single victim on our Stolen Lives Quilt should still be here with their families, enjoying their birthdays, their holidays, getting married, having children, becoming teachers, etc. They should still be here with their families. And with the Kate Steinle case, you know, that illegal alien said that the reason he went back to the sanctuary city of San Francisco was because of its policies. And a year and a half, 2 years ago now, I went to San Francisco to that Pier 14 where Ms. Steinle was killed, and we held a press conference asking for the city to remove its policies. And to this day, San Francisco is a sanctuary city.
Maria, and over at the station Wheels, we're getting a little feedback here. Ride that gain a little bit, please. Maria, how in the world can a city like San Francisco, a city like Chicago, or any city, de Blasio in New York City, etc., how can they adopt the principles of being a sanctuary city, which goes against the grains of our laws and our citizenship? How can they do this and get away with it?
Well, that's a good question, and one that I asked the same question to the president of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton, during our conference on Saturday. And basically, it's your state legislature, where that can change those policies and laws about whether or not our elected officials can be held personally accountable, because I believe until that takes place, these elected officials are going to be promoting and implementing their agendas. And it goes against our Constitution and our civility and our current laws. So, you know, we have to look at that. And it's sad, Zeb, that if I was employed, and a lot of your listeners, if they're employed with a company and they do something wrong that's against their company policies, they will be fired on the spot. It's very unfortunate that these elected officials, when they go against our Constitution and laws, sanctuary city policies circumvents our laws, that those elected officials are able to stay in position until the next election cycle. So I think there has to be something that we can do as citizens to show that these elected officials, that if they go against our Constitution, and like I just mentioned, that they should be removed immediately so that they cannot hurt other people, so that their policies cannot harm or kill another innocent American.
Absolutely. Maria, I've talked to a lot of people in various cities across the United States. I've got friends all over this nation because of my past business of traveling all over and announcing special venues. I really do not understand from what they've told me how in the world their citizenship, their being a taxpayer, is put second place and subservient to illegal aliens coming in and being protected. I don't understand this.
Right, and we don't either, and I say to everyone out there, don't stand for it. We can do something about it, and this has happened over decades, Zeb. As you know, it didn't happen overnight in the last 10 years, but political correctness has a lot to do with this, and, once that very liberal agenda is gets a little opening and a crack in that door, and they just plow right through it. So we have to hold our elected officials accountable by calling them, have them on your speed dial. These are very basic things that every individual can do. Have these elected officials on your speed dial. Call them when you see something that you don't like, that's against current laws, and that you want them to support, to remove sanctuary city policies, for instance. And continue to call them, and volunteer for those who are standing and championing our laws and making our communities safe so that we can, thrive as an entire community. So those are the things that I think that individuals can do so that we're not feeling frustrated. Support the Remembrance Project. So we're in the thick of things, and we're only speaking with those who have America First policies and an agenda as their number one priority. And we are so far away from that, Zeb, but we have to get back to the basics.
Okay, now, I don't mean to put you on the spot with the follow-up on this question, Maria, but I think it's a real problem for all of us. I mean, I've called our so-called political leaderships and have demanded that I get some answers, and all I get is a form letter or lip service, and they seem to shine us on, and I am really getting sick and tired of these politicians settling into their comfy leather chair and basically ignoring their constituents. What do we do?
Right. You sound like me. They have a plush little office up there with their staff, and here my husband, Timothy Ling, and I are just doing, wearing all these different hats from, making coffee to pushing the mop to getting out and holding these national conferences like we did with Stephen Bannon on Saturday. Well, Deb, you rally your friends. You rally your neighbors, your families, and get them to put that elected official on the speed dial. There is power in numbers, and that is they can have millions of dollars in their war chest, Zeb. Look at what happened to Eric Cantor. Millions and millions. He spent more money, or the equal amount of money, on one dinner he had for his donors than the his opposition, which was now Congressman David Brat, did in his entire campaign, and David Brat won because he had the people behind him. So they can't buy us out as patriots. That's what I'm saying, that this is what they can do, is rally the people together and vote them out of office and continue pressuring them, and you have to pressure them so that they can be exposed.
Well, on a follow-up to what you just said, though, Maria, is it time, in your opinion, to instigate and enable term limits to be the law of the land?
I would love to see term limits. With everything, Zeb, we have to stay vigilant in what is taking place. It is a little bit time-consuming, if you will, for each American to know what's going on. Where do I find the information on, these tax cuts or these promises, the illegal immigration issue that my elected official is voting on? You've got to know where to go to find the correct information and know where to go to confirm that your elected official is doing what he has in his newsletter. don't think that they're going to tell you the entire truth or spin it. They're going to spin it how they want and make themselves look as if they're serving you when they're really serving themselves to get reelected.
Absolutely.
So each one, get with the group, and that group can do the heavy lifting, and you get on their mailer list. Understand that group, though, and understand the leadership of that group, so you're not following the same boat as swaying by the wrong person. And do your homework. Take a little time in the morning with a cup of coffee, read through the news, look up your legislator. This is what we can do. Unfortunately, this is the world that we live in, and we almost lost our country, Zeb. I really feel we dodged a bullet in this last year's election, and thank God that Donald Trump was the winner. And that doesn't mean that we have to slack off. It means that we have to work even harder, because now we have a man in the White House who loves his country and loves Americans, and we have to support him and continue to recruit people and tell the truth so that they can become active and help support in their local areas.
Absolutely well stated. Now, before I let you go, I want you to remind my listeners about the Remembrance Project, what it is, what it does, and what you want people to remember about it.
The Remembrance Project advocates for Americans whose loved ones were killed by someone who should not have been in the country. We are a all-volunteer group. My husband and I have sacrificed, moved from Texas to Washington, D.C., into the swamp. So we're working very hard, Zeb, and we just ask that if anyone out there can afford $10 a month on a recurring donation, we'd love to have your support. We need your support, but most of all, we need your prayers, and that has been our guiding hand all of this entire way, because nowhere would you have two individuals he's a civil engineer, and we're just kind of scrappy Americans who love our country, and unbelievable that we've gotten to this point and are able to have such an impact in this country, and we're focused with our hearts and minds in the right place.
Now, I looked it up, and you have your website, theremembranceproject.org. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Zeb. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you, and I want to also say, like I did at the beginning, I would really like to have you come back on. You're one of the team as far as I'm concerned. Maria Espinoza, the National Director of the Remembrance Project, and that website, theremembranceproject.org. Maria, God bless you, and thank you for coming on the program this morning.
God bless you, too. It's an honor to be on your show, Mr. Bell, and I will be contacting you.
I'll look forward to it. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
Very nice lady right there, and I'm going to look forward to having her back on the air. She tells it like it is, and that is what I respect. Thank you very much. Maria Espinoza, the National Director of the Remembrance Project, takes great people like her to get things done. Thank you. I got to get some things done right now, too. I got to remind you about Ark Animal Hospital. Oh, Dr. Bill and the staff over there at Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street, near Connection Credit Union. It sounds better when you don't bite your tongue. Connection Credit Union. There we go. In Heyburn. Number to call, 678-1177. They have the warm hearts for the cold noses. They take care of your animals. Whether you got a little bitty sick kitty cat or whether you got a whole bunch of cows that need treatment, they can help you. It's a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them all. Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street in Heyburn. Number to call, 678-1177. Really, really nice people. By the way, I just have some fresh information hot off the press. Oh, my goodness, and it's all about a great big sale that's going to be tomorrow night, one night only at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Holy Holy cow! Listen to this. It's a great big customer appreciation sale, and it's going to be tomorrow night, Thursday, November 9th. Don't miss it. Wait a minute. Today's Tuesday. It's going to be in 2 days, Thursday, November 9th. I lost all the theatrics. It's going to be one night only on Thursday, which today's Tuesday. That means day after tomorrow. Customer appreciation sale. Holy buckets, I got that straight. No money down, no interest, 12 months on approved credit. Oh my goodness, they got some doorbuster issues. Floor lamps, $75. You can't beat that. You can save up to 50% on the entire store of all the goodies. All the sofas and love seats, sectionals and sleepers, you can save up to 50%. Where am I talking about? Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. With Jeff and the crew, I had a talk with a really nice lady over there yesterday, and we were talking all about this big one-night-only sale Thursday, November 9th, 5 to 9 p.m. at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. You be sure and be in attendance. I keep thinking today, I did this at least 9 times before the program this morning, at least, on phone calls and everything, and I was saying to everybody, well, today's Wednesday. No, it's not, Zeb. Today is Tuesday, November 7th. I'm getting way ahead of myself. I'm sorry. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We are expecting to have a phone call momentarily with the great wheels over at our station, letting me know that United States Senator Mike Crapo is on the line, so we're certainly hoping for that. In the interim, I want to tell you again about some more great people like Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and so much more for you, your family, and your business. And I urge you to give them a call. I urge you to make an appointment. I urge you to honor that appointment and learn more about how they can help and protect you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. The number to call, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Over in that same neck of the woods, or part of the desert, you're going to find Let's Ride. Oh, that is where the fun is sold. My goodness sakes, they're located at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. And they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And they've got all the new 2018 snowmobiles over there. What a fantastic selection in their showroom. I do not know how they got all that in the showroom. I mean, they've got all the snowmobiles, they've got all the four-wheelers, they've got all the side-by-sides, they've got all the accessory. Woo! It's a big, beautiful place over there. And the best doggone service department around. You'd better get over there today. Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Yep, where the fun is sold. Let me ask Mr. Wheels over at the station if we have United States Senator Mike Crapo on the line.
We do not. Her secretary... I apologize, Mike. His secretary had called in and said that he is still in his morning meeting today, and it's already been about half an hour, and he's still not out yet. And so she told me that she had sent you an email about that. And I'm hoping that he's going to be calling in.
All right. You know, it's pretty hard for me to get an email from her while I'm sitting here on the air. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, buddy. Hey, listen, let me know the minute he calls in.
Will do, sir.
All right. Appreciate it. Hey, by the way, that means that yours truly is sitting here with not much to say or do until he does call in. You know, I was following a little story that I wanted to elaborate on just a little bit more, and that is about a woman that, how do you say this delicately? She waggled the middle finger at President Trump's motorcade the other day, and it was picked up on social media. And it took place while he was returning from the Sterling, Virginia National Golf Club. And she identified herself as Julie Briskman. and she made the rude gesture to the president's motorcade. There is, in this case with President Donald Trump, I think, more disrespect to him, his administration, and the office than I've ever seen before. I detested the ideology and the politics of Barack Obama. I did not like the man personally. I absolutely did not want him to be president of the United States, and the proof is in the pudding. He will go down as one of the worst presidents ever in the history of this country, if not the worst. But no one ever should subject themselves to that low-class attitude of doing what this woman did. Oh, I mean, I had a lot of ill things to say about Obama's administration, but we said it on the air, and nothing like this. Well, she got fired. And I think it's a great thing that the company, Akima LLC, a Virginia-based company, that holds several government contracts doing marketing and communications work, they found out that she had been riding a bike along that roadway, and it was a picture and some on video of her flipping the bird at the presidential motorcade. And some of her clients said, we're separating from you because basically you cannot have lewd or obscene things in your social media, and you were caught flipping off the president of the United States, and we are canceling our business with you. I think it's a good thing. What are your thoughts on that? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We are padding and filling time, and I need your phone calls. We had been told that we would have United States Senator Mike Crapo on for this segment. Evidently, the meeting that he is in, I don't know if it's a budget meeting or the tax cut meeting or whatever, it's running a little long in Washington, D.C., and Old Wheels will let us know if and when he calls in. So up to that time, I would appreciate your phone calls. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, thank you. You're on the air.
I'm here to say, if we don't have any more respect for the leadership in our country, then that we can go out in the public and also on our computers and say terrible things about a person, we need to be put in jail for defamation of somebody's character. You do not know their heart, and they, it's just not, it's not fair. Especially public people where they are out in the bullseye all the time. Try to understand their feelings and what a risk they are taking.
Do you agree with what I said earlier? And we'll take that caller's number 2. Stay there. But Chris, quickly, do you agree with what I said earlier that I think this administration, the Trump administration, is under more of an attack with obscenities and disrespect more so than any other president before?
Well, I haven't lived long enough to compare him to a lot of other ones, but from what I see happening in our country, unfortunately, the family has gone down the drain, and our children and the millennial generation have forgotten civility.
Amen.
And we need to honor our president. We may not agree with him, but we need to honor it.
Very well stated. Chris, again, have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Okay, the sun is shining.
Oh, yes, ma'am, it is. I love it. Thank you. God bless. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Zeb, this is Mike Campbell. I just wanted to let everybody know that we had a real good turnout the other night at our annual spaghetti feed for the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association.
Great.
And to thank you for plugging us. And I'm on the road right now. Jar and I are headed over to the Senior Center on Overland to present them with a nice check from our spaghetti feed to help with the Meals on Wheels program. We'll be there in about 15 minutes. But I just wanted everybody to know that to thank everybody for showing up and helping out our program.
God bless you, and I mean that. All the combat vets, and I've worked with JR and everybody else, and you know something, Mike? It just makes me feel good all over to hear you say that you're not only helping other people, but golly, we really support you in anything, anytime that you want promoted on the radio, just let me know.
Well, thank you, buddy, and we appreciate and love our community and all of our citizens, and thank them for allowing us to serve our country and to help protect this great United States. And I got to run, buddy. I'm on the road, so.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
Very much, Zeb.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. Thank you so much. That makes you feel good, doesn't it? I mean, those are some wonderful, wonderful people helping other people. Thank you so much. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The reason we don't have United States Senator Mike Crapo on the air right now is because he's in a meeting. Evidently, they've said, no, you're not going to leave, Senator, and hopefully we'll get him on in the next few minutes. But until then, please give me a call. While I'm waiting for your call that I just know is coming in, don't forget Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. The number to call, 436-3200. Now, they really provide more one-on-one care, and they really personalize the help for each person. So maybe there's a member of your family that needs that little one-on-one care. Well, I'll tell you what, they're ready, able to serve those folks. Please stop by or visit their location, take a tour, find out more. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. The number to call, 436-3200. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. All right, calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to say something about today being Election Day. And a lot of you folks are probably going, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go to the polls today. I just don't think I want to exert the effort. I think I'll stay here and watch the soap operas, and I might just have some bonbons and just sit back in the lazy boy. Well, listen, that's not the Election Day and the way to observe it. A lot of folks have dedicated their time and their money and their resources to be a part of the solutions to problems and opportunities in their respective communities. In other words, they're putting their neck on the line. They're putting their mouth and their money out in front of everybody because they want to run for a certain office. I urge you to go vote. At least be, civil and decent to them for the effort they've expended, whether they're running for mayor, whether they're running for city council, I don't care what they're running for. At least go vote. Please. Today is voting day, and I urge you to go vote. Okay. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Had a call earlier this morning before we went on the air. And a very dear friend of mine said, aha, I'll bet you watched the Green Bay Packer-Detroit Lions game last night, didn't you? Uh-huh. No. No, I didn't. I made a commitment a couple of weeks ago when this mess with a lot of these black athletes sitting, kneeling, or raising fists against our flag in a show of disrespect. I said I didn't care about my team that I was born and raised with, the Green Bay Packers. I would not support them. Now, last night, I don't know this for a fact. You might know because maybe you saw it. I didn't watch it. But at the beginning of the game, it was stated in the newspaper that all the players stood for the national anthem. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But they've got a long way to go to gain back my respect for the NFL. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zeb, today's election day. I went and voted. But you know what I hope that these guys do is go and pick up their signs. it becomes a litter box to me.
Bob, you're 100% right. And normally when you call in, you always leave me with my jaw hanging down. But in this instance, I'm going to say I absolutely agree with you. In the last election, the last time we had an election day, I remember vividly on Highway 30 and other areas, signs were left up for like 2 and 3 months afterwards. What's going on here?
Well, they get elected and then they become complacent and don't want to do anything else, and they usually don't. Okay, thanks, Jeff.
All right, Bob, thank you so much. And they usually don't. Okay. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call. Going back to that story about Green Bay last night, no, I did not watch the game. I ended up turning on an old 1943 Western that I had not seen for a long, long time. Watch that instead of the NFL Green Bay and Detroit game. As far as I'm concerned, the NFL is toast. And did you notice on TV the last couple of days, depending on what station you're on, the NFL is trying to come out with the different players saluting the military. They know Roger Goodell, who I think is one of the most wasted chairs ever to sit by a desk from the commissioner's standpoint. I wish they would have fired Goodell. I wish that Jerry Jones and other owners would just say, there's the door. Don't let the knob hit you in the rear end on the way out. I think he's a disgusting commissioner and does not have enough gumption to really run the NFL. But now they're coming out with these ads. Oh, the NFL and the different players saluting the military. This should have never got to this point. Yes, I agree that I think the ads are great, but it's a little bit of CYA too late. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your phone calls, and also for United States Senator Mike Crapo, I'm going to have the weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. You know, you want the best for your taxes, and I urge you, because that's where I go, I urge you to make an appointment with Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. They are the best. And remember, it's time to get your 1099s and W-2s out, and also to take care of your end-of-the-year tax planning. Get a hold of them today, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company in Burley and Rupert. And right now, here's the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for us up at the ranch on this Tuesday. A little bit frosty for this morning, but we will be warming up to about 39 under mostly sunny skies. Going to be nice. A little bit on the breezy side tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 21. Tomorrow, sunny skies, high of 41. A little bit on the breezy side Wednesday night. Partly cloudy skies, low of 30 for Thursday. We do have a slight chance of rain showers in the forecast with a high of 48. That's your weather on Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Brought to everybody by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. The very, very best of accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. Best of tax return preparation, tax planning, retirement planning, payroll services, you name it, they can help you with it. Don't forget, they would like to thank everybody out there for their business. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. As you noticed, United States Senator Mike Crapo is not on the phone, and I don't know if Wheels has heard from anybody back there or not. Wheels, any updates on where did our senator go?
I haven't gotten a drop from the caller ID saying the U.S. Senate,
okay,
so.
Well, I guess what we'll do is we'll just keep rolling along and ask people to call and state their opinions about anything we've talked about so far this morning. One thing I did want to mention, and I didn't have time in the first hour, is that the horrendous, very tragic, absolutely life-shattering occurrence in Texas with that former Air Force man getting a whole bunch of guns. He should have never had the opportunity to buy guns in the first place. The Air Force, it's been said, and I've read various articles this morning, dropped the ball and never let his records about his mental instability be known. And he should have never been able to buy and purchase weapons. It should have gone into the national database. It did not. And I've heard numerous Democrats, let's call it what it is, come out and absolutely rail for gun control. I heard a couple of these people say, oh, we should have a complete confiscation. We don't need guns. Nobody needs guns. Whoa. Easy right there. Thank goodness and thank God that two private citizens were aware of what was going on in the church, saw the shooter leave the church, jump into a vehicle, they followed him, one man had a gun, and they took him out. And the shooter ended up being wounded and then ended up taking his own life. But I want to stay with the armed citizenry here. I'm very concerned for my safety, my family's safety, and the safety and security of my property. And I'm not about to, and I'll say this right now, I'm not about to have somebody knock on my door and say, Mr. Bell, we're here to collect your guns. Not in America. Never. I have maintained, and most of my listeners I think agree, that you and me are the main source of security living in a rural area for our families and our welfare. And to basically stand there behind the door with a butter knife going, oh, please, Mr. Intruder, don't come in and shoot me. All I've got is a butter knife. That's asinine and stupid, and I'm never going to let that happen in my case, nor should you. And thank goodness that these private citizens did what they did to take down the shooter and stop the carnage. Armed citizenry in America can do more to prevent crime than anyone else. The Democrats want gun control confiscation programs. Yes, they do. They'll shelter it and say, oh, no, we believe in the Second Amendment. No, they don't. They're liars. You and I must resist and never give in to their control of our freedoms and our rights. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I really would appreciate a call. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to remind you, too, that on Thursdays... This is called Felon Time, folks. Come on. I thought we had the senator coming on. On Thursdays, we have a segment on our program called Cassia County School Days, and it's brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. They've got all the ladies' fall dresses, and then most of them are like 20% off right now. And they've got great birthday gift-giving ideas, and they've got all the baby clothing and the toys and the puzzles. It's all there at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley, along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley for your outpatient surgeries like life-saving colonoscopies and cataract surgery, carpal tunnel surgery, all of this and more. Please call them and find out more information at 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you on Thursdays at 10:10 School Days in Cassia County. All right, calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Got to tell you, the stupid media, the left-wing media. Are you aware of the story about Donald Trump? And the left went wild over this story, and they made fun of him, and they said he was trying to kill the fish over in Tokyo. What happened was President Donald Trump and Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, they went to a fish farm. And there were all these Asian carp fish called koi, and each of them were handed a bowl of fish food. Now, the left went off the rails on this thing, and they only took out the excerpts of the video that they wanted to take out and criticize Donald Trump, but they again lied. The left liberal media lied. By the way, I'm getting a lot of static on the headset's wheels. Are we coming through okay? Do we need to reestablish a new line?
No, you sound perfectly clear.
Okay, maybe it's just something on my end. I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, anyway, Prime Minister Abe and President Trump stood at the edge of this fish pond. And the liberal media only showed the clip of Donald Trump just dumping en masse the contents of the bowl. And they criticized him for that. He's trying to kill a fish, man. He's all that great big lump in the pool. No, that's not the truth. A closer look at the video shows that both leaders, Abe and Trump, started spooning and throwing the fish food in the pond, and then because of time constraints and they were asked to move on, Prime Minister Abe first emptied the contents into the pond, and then Trump emptied the contents of his bowl into the pond. But the liberal left went nuts, only showing and telling partiality of the story. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. The left is nuts. But what I wanted to, I know you're just trying to buy some time here, but today is an election day here in Burley, Idaho.
Yes.
And they're running for city council positions and even the mayor.
Right.
Now, if you live within the city Burley limits, which I do not, if you don't vote, you don't have anything to say about how they run our government.
Absolutely. Right? No griping, no complaining. Don't go to the coffee shop and condemn. If you didn't vote, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. The only thing that I would like to see, not just in local politics, but in all politics, is that I think a person ought to have to take an aptitude test. Now, that's not discriminating against anybody, is it?
Well, yeah, it is, Keith, because the liberals and their mindset, they're not as sharp, so that's discriminating against them.
Well, you're right. How come you always got to win? But anyway, yeah, that's, what's wrong with people wanting people that are running for an office to be up to the task?
Absolutely. And I hear this every day on my program. People call and they'll call me after the program, especially during election time, and I'll say, well, wait a minute, you're griping and complaining about so-and-so. Honestly, answer this. Did you go vote? And they'll go, well, no, I don't believe in going to vote. My vote doesn't count anyway. And I almost want to just hang up the phone on these people, because what basis of reality do they have if they're going to complain and yet they didn't exercise the right to vote?
That's absolutely true, and I have good friends that don't vote, and I try to make them feel bad about it, but they don't.
Yeah.
They said, I don't care. It ain't going to make any difference.
That's where
comment that you'll hear.
That is exactly wrong. It's wrong-headed. It's very immature and not intellectual at all, saying something stupid like that, because you have seen it in your lifetime. I've seen it in mine, that sometimes the narrowest margins influence the vote, and those people that didn't go to the polls, they turn around and say, whoa, maybe I should have voted after all. Keith, I got to run to the news, but thank you for calling in.
You bet. Bye-bye.
God bless you. I hear him in the other room. He's already infiltrated my refrigerator and stole my water, and that's Dr. History. He's going to be coming up in a couple of minutes, and before that, we're going to listen to the CBS News from the big boys, and evidently Mike Crapo could not get out of that meeting. Now, I can't imagine why the United States budget and everything else takes precedence over coming on my program, but evidently it did this morning. So we will try to reschedule and have United States Senator Mike Crapo call in at another time. Wheels, thanks for all your help over there. And we're going to go to CBS News and then Dr. History. Have a great day, everybody. Holy cow, what a beautiful day it is outside in the neighborhood. But it's not warm enough for Mr. Rogers to take off his sweater yet. But anyhow, we'll have our own version of Mr. Rogers on the air with us in just a moment. Zeb at the Ranch brought to you by, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, telling you to get ready for wintertime driving. Great folks, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And also some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services. Call them, get on the route service, get rid of your garbage, 734-6969. It is Tuesday, and in just a very few moments, we're going to have the shining personality of Dr. History on the air, so bear with us just a moment as I tell everybody, too, about Ramsey Heating and Electric Analytics with the home comfort systems. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric. Call them today and find out more, 678-0459, Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, saving you money. And the noise that started during the end of the news going up to just now is all brought to you by Dr. History, because his mic was on. Good morning, Dr. History.
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing?
I am good. You brought a friend with you.
I did. This is my brother-in-law, Jonathan, from Orange County, California, up here. And we're going to actually make a little trip out through the city of Rocks and do a little history drive over there.
That'll be beautiful up there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day out there today.
Yeah. Don't get stuck in the snow.
We won't go that deep.
I see.
I hope.
By the way, you, of course, a great American, and we've had this program going for a long, long time. And anytime we've talked about our military, you've always been one of the first to step up and say a great salute to the men and women in our military. On this coming weekend, as a matter of fact, Saturday, Veterans Day, Remembrance Day, and you had mentioned to me that you had a poem that you'd like to honor our military.
I do. A short time ago, I finished reading a book about Ernie Pyle.
Yes.
Now, Ernie Pyle was probably the most famous and most read war correspondent of World War II. And after reading his book, there was a part in there that just kind of stuck with me, and I kind of came up with this poem. Ernie actually was in North Africa for quite a while. Then he went over into Europe for quite a while, and then ended up over in the Pacific.
Right.
And that's where he was shot and killed. But this is just something that I came up with that I would like to read to you.
Very good.
It's called The Stone Wall. The men arose, prepared for the day, a day like so many others, rifles, helmets, and all the gear, a bond like so many brothers. Orders came down the line, orders for soldiers to obey, wondering what the day would bring, home folks praying day after day. From a ship, a bomber, in a tank, or those with boots on the ground, they are the greatest generation, no braver men to be found. They volunteered, willing to serve, with mud, blood, courage, and fear, forever hoping war would end, never knowing if death was near. Captain Wasco's body lay quiet and still in the shadow of the stone wall. A true leader loved by his men, why did this man have to fall? His men gazed at the lifeless form, questions, no answers, but why? Willing to fight for family and country, and yes, even willing to die. Peace would come in the end, the cost, so many gave their all. Let's remember those who didn't return, those neath the shadow of the stone wall.
You really outdid yourself. I'm speechless. That was an excellent poem, and I give you tribute. And I'd also ask you to do a favor.
What's that?
I'd like you to send that letter, honestly, to the NFL headquarters, seriously, to Roger Goodell, and let him distribute that to the players that want to disrespect our flag and our military by taking a knee.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to leave this with you, Zeb, and
I appreciate
so if you want to use it later next week or whatever.
You know, if I have your permission and I could do it justice, I'd like to do it next Monday on our tribute to Veterans Day.
You bet, that'd be fine.
Doctor, history. I had a hard time choking back the tears because it meant a lot to me because it reminded me of a lot of my buddies from Vietnam that didn't come home.
Yeah, yep.
Thank you.
So today we're going to talk about Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce Indians.
One of the greatest military tactician minds that ever lived.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
An amazing man.
Yes.
So, and I know we're not going to get through this, so it's going to take at least 2, maybe 3 sessions.
Oh, that sounds like a serial cliffhanger to me.
It does. So we're going to zip as far as we can go and then finish next week and whatever.
Well, get on your Appaloosa and ride.
Here we go. All right, so here we are. Summer of 1877. Americans from coast to coast read, kind of with increasing awe and somewhat of a feel sorry for thing about the newspaper's coverage of one of history's greatest epics of group courage and endurance. 5 bands of Nez Perce Indians, totaling about 700 men, women, and children, had fled from their homeland in the Pacific Northwest and were trying to find a refuge from the U.S. Army. Now, perhaps among the friendly tribes on the plains, perhaps in Canada, they just wanted to go anywhere they could to get away. So during their zigzagging, actually 1,700-mile flight, 1,700, and this is on horseback and on foot, Zed.
Yeah, I was going to say, they didn't exactly take a taxi.
No. But the Nez Perce were constantly pursued and attacked by a vastly superior government force, whom they repeatedly defeated, fought off, or somehow outsmarted them.
That's right.
Well, as the desperate trek continued, many of the newspaper readers came to agree with this magazine called Harper's Weekly that the refugees had a great deal of right on their side. They felt like the Indians were in the right,
Absolutely.
not in the wrong.
Absolutely.
And they found themselves rooting for the Indians, the underdogs. And, of course, their heroic figure identified as their leader, and he was a tall, powerful young man named Joseph.
You know, it should be noted here, Doctor, why they were forced into this flight. Would you like to talk about that?
And we're gonna go. That'll be the first part.
You always tell me that.
Yeah, just hang on, Zeb.
Okay, I'm nervous.
We'll get there. In fact, he was called the Indian Napoleon.
Yes.
That's what the press, the newspapers called him. So now, actually, Joseph was not the leading chief of the Nez Perce, or even a war chief. He was what they called a civil chief. And while he helped to plan the Nez Perce brilliant strategy as a member of the Council of the Leaders, he modestly minimized his military skills, saying, "The Great Spirit puts it in the heart and head of a man to know how to defend himself." So that was his attitude. But his authority was more than a war chief's power. It rested on him. He was dignified, calm, unswerving, devotion to his people, to his family, and his people, at least that faction of the tribe caught up in this unwanted war, recognized him as the guardian in their time of need.
Yeah.
So he wasn't really a war chief, but they looked to him as a great leader. So, anyway, in spite of the massive chase mounted by the U.S. Army, the Nez Perce had never presented any threat to the white men.
That's right.
Up until that time. Now, the entire tribe consisted of about 3,600 people, but they were divided into many small bands. And in former days, they had been widely scattered throughout the rugged uplands where Oregon met the future states of Idaho and Washington. So, geographically, picture southeast Washington, northeast Oregon, and kind of that middle part of Idaho.
Yeah, didn't they have the fracturing before they were forced onto that trek? Many of the Nez Perce stayed around the Grangeville area, I think.
Right, yes, and that's kind of close to where we're talking.
Okay.
But the Nez Perce had always been friendly in their dealings with the white men and asked nothing for them in peace, other than peace. Now, one misnomer out there, it's been said that the Nez Perce were called that because they pierced their nose, and that's not true.
That's not true.
And so, I've read in some places where they say, yes, it's because they pierced the nose. But no, they did not. So where that came from...
Well, look, you're not Nez Perce, but you come in with a nose ring.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd notice. So, anyway, the Nez Perce, so-called by the French-Canadian trappers, because of their pierced nose, really was not true.
No.
And said they wore a shell. Anyway, they didn't. Okay, so then that was in 1805 when the French trappers kind of first met them, and then when Lewis and Clark stopped on their way west, the visitors found them a very advanced and enterprising tribe.
That's true.
Already mastering the arts of selective horse breeding, and you know which horse that is?
The Appaloosa.
The Appaloosa. And these guys were pretty amazing because they would geld the unpromising colts and sold off the scrub mares to neighboring tribes. And by breeding only the best animals, they built up a great herd of these Appaloosa horses. Which were,
no different than thoroughbreds or quarter horses.
Right, exactly. Yeah. They were very skilled stockmen.
Yep.
Lewis ranked them, quote, among the most amiable men we have seen. Their character is gentle. So they were not a real warlike tribe.
They got a raw deal.
They did. They really did. Well, decades later, towards the end of the fur trapping era, white missionaries found them to be receptive to Christianity. So in 1836, the Reverend Henry Spalding founded a Protestant mission on Lapway Creek in Nez Perce country. So that's right in this area we're talking about.
Right.
Okay. Now, one of his early converts was Joseph's father, and we're going to call him Old Joseph. He was the leading chief of one of the richest Nez Perce bands. Now, his oldest son, born in April of 1840, he was given the name Thunder Rolling in the Mountain. He was baptized by Spalding and given the name Joseph.
Really?
So his original name was Thunder Rolling in the Mountain. Now, he had a little brother, and his name was Ollicut.
Ollicut. Now, what did that mean?
I don't know.
Oh, you're supposed to have the answers to these questions.
He was born 2 years later. By then, they'd ran out of what to call him. So, Ollicut.
Ollicut. Yeah, well, I looked at somebody the other day and I said, I think I'll name you Ollicut. Yeah, I betcha. It hit me right away.
So this was their early childhood was around this Lapway mission.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, under Spalding's teachings, the Nez Perce became good farmers, cattle raisers, and by the late 1840s, the increasing influx of white settlers and obviously the rise in friction between the people of the different cultures prompted Old Joseph to move his band southward to their ancestral domain in around the Walla Valley.
The what valley?
Wallawa. That's what I said.
Say it again, class. We're going to have an oral exam on this in the morning.
So Joseph's Wallowa band and its four nearest neighbors were thenceforth known as the Lower Nez Perce because they inhabited the southern part.
Right.
So you've got a southern and a northern
part, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, in 1855, the U.S. government decided to settle the various tribes of the Northwest on reservations and clearly determine what land was available for development by the whites. And the age-old story, you know what's coming. The Indians, including the Nez Perce, were summoned to a grand council in Walla Walla, Washington. The Nez Perce loose tribal organization, which gave a chief authority only over his own band, it caused some problems in negotiations. The government commissioners tried to simplify matters by designating one man as principal chief. They only wanted to work with one person over everybody, and that's not the way they worked.
Nope.
So an upper Nez Perce leader, his name was Lawyer. In the end, however...
his name was Lawyer?
Lawyer.
Never trust a guy by the name of Lawyer. Never.
Yeah. So they chose him.
He belonged to that group called Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Yeah, he was one of those guys. So anyway, 56 Nez Perce chiefs, among them Old Joseph, signed the treaty, and it would actually, in the originally, was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Now, although the tribe lost a small portion of its traditional range, they actually had 10,000 square miles of reservation, and it was considered by the Indians to be good.
Yeah.
It was room enough.
They actually, of all the Indian tribes in the nation, especially when you look at like the southern Indians in Arizona, Texas, etc., their reservation was the most lucrative and the most fulfilling for what they needed.
Yeah, because it was pretty much their ancestral land.
Yep.
And they were promised $200,000 worth of goods and compensation for what they gave up. And now that is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money even in those days. Why, that's even a little bit more than what you make.
Yeah, in a day.
Yeah.
So anyway, these arrangements were disrupted in the autumn of 1860 by the start of the gold rush.
Oh, boy.
Typical.
Yeah, here we go.
In Nez Perce country.
Yep.
Now, although prospecting was expressly forbidden under the treaty, neither the government nor the Indians actually tried very hard to stop these invaders.
Were there a lot of invaders and gold miners that disavowed the treaty and went there?
Oh, yeah.
Were there?
Yeah, but the Nez Perce actually sold the prospectors horses and cattle, and they kind of thought they would go away.
Yeah,
well, obviously,
kind of like a bad cold.
Yeah, but as the gold petered out, more and more miners did leave, but some of them tend to steal Nez Perce horses in order to travel in style. But there were a lot of whites that stayed behind as farmers and ranchers, and trouble started between the Indians and the whites, and it just got a little worse and worse. But much of the trouble was over fences. Now, that may sound strange.
No, I believe that.
Both whites and Indians would tear down each other's fences to use for firewood or to let their livestock through to the other pastures.
Well, look at Rand Paul. He got beat up riding a lawnmower.
He did, yeah, and he probably didn't have a fence. So, they would try to, anyway, they couldn't keep their animals in, and sometimes they'd go trample the crops of the white people or the Nez Perce. But the Nez Perce basic complaint was against the administration of the Indian Bureau. You see, what happened was the territorial officials and the white men's courts, if Indians were caught doing something, they received a very stiff punishment for minor infractions, while a white man could actually kill an Indian in plain view of other Indians but escape prosecution because of no witnesses.
Why didn't the Indians try to capture and hold some of the miners that broke the law and turn them over to the whites and demand that justice be served?
That's a good question, and I don't know if maybe they didn't trust that they would even get justice, even if they did that. But in fact, they say that they concluded they could never get justice from their white friends. So why even do it?
Yeah.
So anyway, in an effort to ensure protection for the Nez Perce and also to acquire more land for the whites in the process, federal authorities called another council. Now this was in 1863. They presented the chiefs with a new treaty, which, again, happened time and time again, and this proposed to reduce their tribal holdings from 10,000 square miles to just a little more than 1,000.
Whoa.
They lost 90%.
Wow.
So this prospect permanently split the tribe into two factions, okay? The upper Nez Perce chiefs, led by Lawyer.
Yeah.
And they
I
actually
told you couldn't trust
do not trust that guy. Anyway, they signed the treaty. But the agreement called for actually no sacrifice on their part, since their range lay within the reduced reservation along Lapway Creek.
Okay.
But the lower Nez Perce chiefs, led by Old Joseph, they were being asked to give up their homeland in the south and move north onto a reservation, which they maintained was too small for the whole tribe. And they refused to sign.
Yeah.
So now you got the upper and the lower. The upper guys, they signed because there was no sacrifice. The lower ones wouldn't sign because it was their land.
That was territory at that time and not states.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Washington Territory.
Yeah.
So back in his beloved Wallowa Valley, Old Joseph tore up his Bible, the, quote, Book of Heaven, as he had always called it. The chief and other Christianized members of the lower Nez Perce bands, they were so disillusioned by the white man and all he stood for that they quickly reverted to their ancestral nature worship.
Yeah.
So the Christianity went out the window, basically.
Well, and basically it led them into war.
Yeah, and that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
So the doctrine was that the Indians' lands were an inalienable gift.
Having a little trouble there, Bunky?
I'd better take a drink.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if you only knew what was in that bottle of water.
Yeah. So anyway, their land was a gift from the Great Spirit.
Yes.
And it was a religious thing.
Yeah.
And they felt like that was their land. It was their ancestral land. So, anyway, in the troubled years that followed, Old Joseph steadily failed in health, but his policy of passive resistance was maintained by his two very different sons. The younger one, Ollicott, a huge man, enormously popular, advanced rapidly toward the status of becoming a war chief.
Right, and the other guy, Thunder Rolling Across the Hills.
Winning many honors, Ollicott did, with the Plains tribes, especially the Nez Perce traditional enemy, the Blackfeet. Meanwhile, young Joseph, who was actually shorter than Ollicott,
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he stood 6 feet 2 inches
He
tall.
was a big man.
200 pounds.
Absolutely big
Anyway,
man, yeah.
he took over more and more of his father's duties as the civil chief.
And he was the good guy.
He was good. And
Yeah.
actually, Ollicott was okay, too.
Yeah.
He was just a little more warlike.
But you don't know the meaning of Ollicott.
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm going to find out.
All right.
So, anyway, so young Joseph, his hardest chore was working with the white people, the officials, and disputing their contention about the treaty.
It's kind of like us having to work with the Democrats today.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
It was a political mess, and he was trying to preserve peace.
Absolutely.
The reservation, Anyway, young Joseph remained polite and friendly, but he was tough. He was fearless. He was adamant. And though he earnestly desired peace with the white men and vigorously opposed the lower Nez Perce chiefs who spoke of war, he didn't want war.
Yeah.
But in 1871, young Joseph inherited the full weight of chieftainship because his father had died. But before he died, this is what his dad told him. He said, "My son, my body is returning to my Mother Earth, and my spirit is going very soon to see the Great Spirit. When I am gone, think of your country. You are the chief of these people. They look to you to guide them. Always remember that your father never sold his country. You must stop your ears whenever you are asked to sign a treaty selling your home." That was his advice, and good advice.
It was good advice.
But Joseph buried his father in the Wallowa Valley, and so now who really owned the land? If you look at the legally, from a legal standpoint.
Do you have a map of the perimeter of the first 10,000 acres?
I've got a map here that just shows the area, but and I'll show you that here in a minute.
All right.
But I know we're about out of time.
Yes, we are.
So
Ollicott's going to get you.
Ollicott's a good guy, actually. I kind of like him in the end.
All right.
We'll talk about him later, but let me just show you this map real quick,
Okay.
Zeb.
Hold it up by your microphone so the world
everybody can
see
hear
it. Yeah.
So everybody can hear?
Okay.
Okay. So you can see over here is Washington Territory.
Yep. Oregon Territory.
And right in the middle of Idaho, near Grangeville, and those little towns right in there.
Yeah.
And the Salmon River, the Clearwater River, the Snake River right through here. And
excellent country for a reservation.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Excellent country.
And as I've traveled up through to Coeur d'Alene to visit my daughter, we passed by the Big Hole Battle, some of the battles that took place, and I always picture those Nez Perce riding through that part of the country when I drive up there.
We are just about out of time, but when you were doing the study on this with Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce fleeing the military, you had to be a little amazed as to the route. They took on some really tough ground.
Well, and when we get to it, I'll talk about how they outsmarted the military time after time with a much smaller group of people.
Is it in that story that you have that a lot of the tactics that he used, Chief Joseph, actually were accepted and adopted by our own military?
Some of them complained that they thought that he had maybe gone to Europe and studied military tactics in Europe.
Well, he didn't have enough money for a plane ticket then,
but
did he?
he was a very smart guy.
Yeah, he was. Yes,
I mean,
he was.
Defending his family, his land. I mean, just another one.
Looking back today, as it's so easy to do with hindsight, there were a lot of good people on all sides. But the Indians did get a bad deal.
They did. And, time and time again, they helped the settlers. They helped the wagon trains from starving to death.
Sacagawea.
They helped people. They healed people.
Yep.
Their medicine. Anyway, so they did get a bum rap, but
we've only got 30 seconds left.
Well, I'm done.
To be continued.
To be continued.
This is like those Saturday morning westerns where the guy's on the edge of the cliff, and all of a sudden, to be continued.
And I'm going to guess it's going to take at least 2 more sessions.
Really?
Yeah.
Kind of therapeutic, right?
I want to cover this thoroughly.
Okay.
So, to be continued, ladies and gentlemen.
Have you personally, in the time remaining, been on the route at all?
I have. I've been up on the Lochsaw River in that area of Grangeville and the Lolo Trail. Lolo Pass. I've been up in that area, yeah.
So now your brother-in-law's with you, and I'm assuming all the families are going to jump into your extra huge Suburban and take a trip today. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're going to go to the City of Rocks. We're not going to go south.
Knowing you like I do, you're not Chief Joseph. Don't get lost.
I've got my GPS and my phone.
Hey, I'm going to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Sounds good, Zeb.
I've got a commercial, and then we're going to send it to the main studio. Don't forget, of course, our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox with the home comfort systems. Be sure and check with Ramsey's today, 678-0459. Find out how they can make your home a lot cozier this winter. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, 678-0459. Be sure and call them today. Dr. History will be back next week, and he'll have more of the Chief Joseph Trek over the mountains up into Montana. Very interesting. Thank you very much. Right now, let's send it back over to our main studios. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
I want to remind you there's going to be an excellent, where quality always comes first, bull and cattle sale going on up at the Molson, Angus, and Hereford Ranch. Don't forget, this is going to be a bull and female sale. It's happening on the dates of November 18th for all the cattle be on display. November 19th, they're going to have the sale at 1 p.m. Don't miss it. I'm going to be telling you more. This is a little teaser for one of the best cattle sales, livestock sales in the state of Idaho, Molson, Angus, and Hereford Ranch up in the Parma Fruitland area. We'll be telling you more as the days go ahead. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and I'm really looking forward to this courageous young lady to be on our program. She has written a book called Soul Survivor, and it's all about her own personal experiences in a very traumatic circumstance. We say good morning to Holly Dunn. Holly, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You know, it's my pleasure to have you on the program, and I'm not going to say too much until you give us a little premise of what the book is, Soul Survivor, because it's close to home. You lived this, didn't you?
I did. So I am the only known survivor of the railroad serial killer. I was attacked while I was a student at the University of Kentucky. My boyfriend and I were attacked walking home from a party. My boyfriend was actually killed with a 52-pound rock, and I was raped, beaten, and stabbed, and left for dead, but somehow survived. And I focus today on, you know, the good that has come from this terrible tragedy that happened. I am so thankful for that I did survive, and that I now can focus on all the good that's come from that.
Holly, let me back up, and I'm going to ask questions that you've probably been asked 100 times, but let's back up first of all and find out a little bit more about this Angel Maturino Resendez. I hope I said his name halfway close, known as the Railroad Serial Killer. What about this guy? Where did his story and his history start?
Well, he had a very long rap sheet in the United States. He had been coming into the United States illegally from Mexico as far back as in the 80s. And he actually, you know, started getting arrested soon after he started coming into the United States. And every time he got deported back to Mexico, he would be arrested, serve time in jail, and then would be deported back to Mexico. But he always crossed back over. And his crimes got more heinous as time went on, and he, you know, attacked people, started killing people, and Chris and I were some of his first victims.
Holly, I don't want to say or ask anything that would bring back some terrible memories, but I guess first and foremost, this man was an illegal alien and back in this country. Your case sounds so much similar to Kate Steinle in California. Would you say that's correct?
It is correct that he was an illegal immigrant and in the United States illegally and was deported back and forth. And, you know, he eluded the police that way. He never had a permanent address in the United States, so nobody knew where to find him.
Oh, my goodness. Now, take us to the night that this happened. Were you and your boyfriend, were you ever aware, prior to this absolute heinous happening, that this man was in that area? Were you aware of the fears of this railroad killer? Tell us about what you knew or didn't know about this man.
No, we knew nothing about this person. We were some of his first victims. So there was no media about anyone bad in the area. There was nothing to tell us that something like this could happen in Lexington, Kentucky, that it was so unheard of. You know, it was, even when he approached us, he asked us for money. We just thought he wanted to rob us. But that, you know, was not the case. We offered him cars, credit cards, ATM cards, everything we could think of, but he didn't want any of it. His goal was to hurt us. And I think that does not go through your mind. Even if it is in the media and talked about, it is not in your mind that someone wants to hurt you.
Holly, take us through, if you can, exactly what were you doing, why were you there, and how did he approach you?
Well, we had been attending a party on the college campus, not far from the college campus, right outside of the college campus. And so the party was kind of dull. We went to take a walk on the railroad tracks. We went to go put quarters or, I guess, pennies on the railroad tracks and have trains flatten them. That was kind of the point of going out there. That was more exciting than this dull party that we were at. And so we went to the railroad tracks and we put coins down and no trains ever came. So we were even more bored than the party. We had actually gone to the tracks with 2 other friends, so there were 4 of us all together. And then when our 2 friends went back to the party, my boyfriend and I stayed and we talked a while, and when we got up to leave to go back to the party is when this man approached us. And he had been watching us. He knew that there were 4 of us. He asked us why our friends went back to, why they left us. So he had been watching us.
Did you, when you saw him, you and your boyfriend, did you think it was just going to be a casual confrontation of hello and then walk away? Or did you instantly feel something is going to really be amiss?
No, I think what was going through my mind at that point was give the person what they want and they'll leave you alone. It was like that mentality of if someone wants to take your purse, throw it at them and run. That was the mentality, was give this man what he wants. If he wants money, take him to an ATM, give him all the money he wants. You can have all the money I can get. And so I was trying to figure out what he wanted. And when he kept saying no to all of our offers to get him money or to give him a car or whatever, it wasn't crossing my mind that, oh no, this man wants to hurt us. It was like, what else could he want? I don't understand.
Did he brandish any kind of a...
It's so surreal. You cannot imagine that someone wants to hurt you.
Did he brandish any kind of a weapon at any time to really create a fear in you and your boyfriend, or was it just basically verbal?
No, he did have a weapon. I didn't see it at first. He had it on Chris, my boyfriend, the whole time. It was some sort of sharp object like a knife or an ice. It was sharp. It looked small, like a screwdriver or an ice pick, but it was very sharp. So I don't know if it was a knife or what, but he did have that weapon on Chris the whole time.
Well, when the initial foray between him and you started, 2 against 1, how did he ever manage to overtake the both of you?
Well, the minute that he asked us for money, he started going through Chris's backpack, because it was like he was looking for the money, and then he tied up Chris's hands behind his back, because he had that weapon on Chris, and he tied up Chris's hands behind his back with his backpack. And then he came over to me, and then I saw the weapon, so then it's in your head, oh, this man wants to hurt us, and you then become compliant, because you want to give him what, if he wants to hurt you, how can I stop him? I don't want to make him angry that he's going to hurt me now.
Yeah.
I want to try to stop this from happening. So he tied up my hands with my belt, and he actually pulled us to the side of the track, and that's when Chris and I tried to start to strategize on how we could get away, or if we could get away. He tied up our feet, and then he gagged us. So, he was trying to prevent us from talking to each other, and he was trying to prevent us from moving.
Wow. I mean, I'm sitting here, and there was no opportunity for either you or your boyfriend to try to basically overhaul the assailant and physically take him down. I mean, there was that much fear, and he was that scary, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, I believe so. You know, it is, again, when I describe it, it's so surreal that your first thought isn't, it's not, it was like, I want a fight or flight. And so, you know, I didn't have either option. Like, I didn't know how to fight. I didn't have self-defense classes that I had taken. I didn't know how to fight somebody off. I'd never been in a fight in my life. And so, you know, what I see is somebody with a weapon, and you do not make someone with a weapon angry.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think I went into survival mode at that point.
I can't imagine the horror of what you had to go through, literally watching your boyfriend be killed and then go through the ordeal that you went through. I mean, that to me is absolutely unspeakable.
It is, you know, it's a terrible, terrible tragedy that we went through. I had horrible survivor's guilt that my boyfriend was killed and I was not. I have had a lot of healing to do. You know, and it's been 20 years of healing. Yes, this happened 20 years ago, but I have had 20 years of healing that I've had to do, and I will have to continue to do that for the rest of my life. This never goes away. This will be with me forever. Even though he's not in the world anymore, he caused this thing in our lives that now I have to live with the trauma from this for the rest of my life.
Holly, what about the after circumstances? I mean, how were you found, and how did you get medical attention? Who found you in the dead of night? How could they ever see you?
Well, I actually don't know how long I laid there before I actually got up to get help. I walked to a house that was about 200 yards away, and I didn't knock on the door. I just walked into this person's house, and I said, please call 911. So I somehow got enough energy to actually walk to, and I don't remember a lot of that. It's all very hazy, and I don't remember actually walking to the house. I do remember walking in the door, and then I don't remember a lot after that. I was going in and out of consciousness, and you know, I know that maybe 15 ambulances and police cars rushed to this house. And then I just kept saying, my friend's still out there, trying to let people know that Chris had been with me and that he was still out there.
Oh, my goodness. Now, take us through what happened to the serial killer. What happened after that encounter with you and Chris, and did they catch him? What was the punishment? I mean, tell us a little bit more about the finalization of him.
Well, we didn't know who had done it for almost 2 years after the attack. That we didn't have any fingerprints. We had DNA, but we did not know who had done it. And so this was 1997 when a DNA database was just getting started. And so the fact that we didn't have fingerprints, we had no idea who had done this. And so it was almost 2 years after the attack that we found out who had done this, because it was linked with other murders that occurred in Texas. And all of a sudden, we had the DNA match, and we had a serial killer. And then it was, you know, how do we find this person? We know who it is, but how do we find them? And again, he didn't have a permanent address, so nobody knew where to find him. And he was riding the trains. He was riding on the railroads to get around the United States. So he was very difficult to find. And he ended up getting on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list. He actually killed 4 people while he was on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list. He was actually caught and then let go.
Oh, no.
Didn't know what he had done. So there was a lot of turmoil in catching him, but he did end up surrendering to a Texas Ranger named Drew Carter, and he surrendered to him, was driven across the border and surrendered in Texas. And then, you know, that the trial process occurred. I testified during the trial process, during the penalty phase of the trial. He, you know, was found sane first, and then there was the penalty phase. So they were deciding whether he would get life in prison or be executed. And so I testified, and that day in court, I talk about that day when I testified was literally one of the hardest days of my life, almost more difficult than the actual attack, because it was so hard to face him again in that courtroom.
Absolutely.
I literally broke down on the stand. I had trouble talking. I mean, I couldn't function. Like, I was in the same room with this person who had caused so much hurt in my life, and I just wanted to give me 5 minutes with him. I just want to hurt him. And I had really tried to focus at that point on all the good that had come from this, and I was focusing on the good, and he represented all those hateful feelings that I had, and I didn't like being in the same room with him. It gave me the chills. It gave me all those bad feelings coming back, and I was so glad when that was over. I did what I wanted to do. I said, I'm going to get you. If you do this again, I'm going to get you. So I did what I wanted to do, but then I had to do more healing after that event because it was so traumatic.
Holly, one of the things I'm impressed about is that you must have had a great mental picture that stayed in your mind of being able to identify and give a descriptive value of what this assailant looked like to the police. I mean, I bet you were barraged with 1,000 questions regarding what he looked like, etc. How did you remember all that?
Well, I did things during the attack. I actually studied his face. I thought during the attack, and I think this was part of me going into survival mode. I actually thought if you leave me, if I'm still alive, if I get through this, I'm going to memorize your face. I'm going to memorize every tattoo on your body, every scar you have. I will remember you because I will get you one day. So that was literally part of my thinking while this attack was going on. So I think that I had really studied him, and I knew exactly. I knew his tattoos, I knew his scars, and so it was still very hard to create something with an artist to get a character of who this person was. That's not an easy process either. But that's what I knew I had to do that so we could maybe help catch him.
Okay, now let's go from the crime and let's go through the healing process and then let's go through to Holly Dunn's life afterward. How did you manage to put your life back on an even keel, and what did you do after you healed up? I mean, you've done a lot of things. Explain how you went from there to here.
Well, I think that what really helped me was to talk about it. I think when you go through something traumatic, talking about it helps tremendously. It loses its power on you. But I also had an amazing support system. So my support system actually, carried me through some of the darkest times of my life. So having that amazing support system for me was, I think, why I can do what I do today.
The book, Soul Survivor, it's on sale, and I'm going to ask you, please, at this juncture, tell us where my listeners can find the book.
Sure. So if they go to soulsurvivorbook.com, that's SOLE, survivorbook.com, they can actually purchase the book through that website and learn about my tour dates and where I'm going to be, maybe around them, and I would love to meet my supporters, meet everyone that has supported me. And, I've had people supporting me for 20 years, and they're all, I say that so many times, that's how I am still here today. That's how I've gotten through this, is that support system.
Let me ask you this, Holly,
you're part of that support system, too, so you're in it now, too. You're in my support system.
I appreciate that, Holly. Listen, when they read the book, they being the listeners right now that are listening to our interview, and they close the cover on the last page, what is the main message you want the reader to take away and remember?
I want people to be inspired. I want them to know that bad things can happen and there is life after it does. But then I want, if anyone's been through a traumatic event, I want them to, understand that it's okay to, if they go through a traumatic event, that they need to talk about it. Everyone needs to talk about it. They need to know that it's healing to talk about it.
One final thought. I understand that you have been very instrumental in founding what's called Holly's House. Quickly, I've only got 2 minutes left. Give us an explanation of what it is and what it does.
Sure. Holly's House is an advocacy center. So it provides support for victims of intimate crimes. It serves as an interview location, and it serves victims of child abuse and child neglect, and it serves adult victims of domestic violence or sexual assault. And we basically provide an interview location and then help them find resources on how they can start their healing process.
Holly Dunn, I want to thank you, and I really appreciate your frankness and your openness about a tragic experience. God bless you. The name of the book is called Soul Survivor, Holly Dunn. God bless, and I wish you nothing but the greatest success with this book.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Wow, there's a lady that literally was knocking on death's door thanks to a serial killer, an illegal alien that shouldn't have been in this country, killed so many people, and we're all better off because she is writing a book about her horrific experiences and trying to help other people. Holly Dunn, and the name of the book is Soul Survivor. We're going to have a weather forecast right now. My goodness, I looked at the clock. I'm almost out of time. And the weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats. 331 North Road in Jerome. Don Scarrow and the rest of the people that work for him are excellent, excellent. And you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, and check out all the delicious meats in their retail meat department. Oh, my goodness. Please remember the number. Give them a call if you have questions. 324-7657. Scarro's Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for us up at the ranch on this Tuesday. A little bit frosty for this morning, but we will be warming up to about 39 under mostly sunny skies. Going to be nice. A little bit on the breezy side tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 21. Tomorrow, sunny skies, high of 41. A little bit on the breezy side. Wednesday night, partly cloudy skies, low of 30 for Thursday. We do have a slight chance of rain showers in the forecast with a high of 48. That's your weather on Deb at the Ranch.
Atta girl. Thank you, Gina. We appreciate it. And the weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. And you know it's true. All the delicious meats over there, they are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Scarro's Meats. Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much for a very interesting program. All of you folks that called in, all your comments, all of our guests today and everything, we really, really appreciate it. I want to urge you to go vote like we were talking earlier this morning. A lot of people put a lot of time and effort and their own personal resources into running for various offices, whether it's city councils or whether it's the mayor, and the least you can do is go vote. And then we all have a say in how our various cities and all the committees function. So please go vote today. Today is vote day. Want to remind you, too, about our dear friends and our major sponsor, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Simply put, they want you to get ready for winter driving. Absolutely. You know that we're going to see the snow, the ice, the muck, and everything else. Well, you also know that you better be prepared with the best in tires, with the best treads to get you through all the various conditions. Well, they've got all your passenger car tires. They've got all your pickup and SUV tires. Don't forget, they've also got all the tire chains, too. And the best in brake service and front-end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. I want to highlight those batteries because I'll guarantee you in the cold winter mornings you want to make sure that engine turns over and gets you to work. By golly, they've got the best at any of the 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Yep, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Wow, I am going to wrap it up for today, put it back in the box, and I hope you and yours have a great day. Had a call just a few moments ago during the news, well, last hour, and they asked about how in the world they could get cow pies and coffee cups. Our weekly blog, go to zebbell.com. You'll see the information, press on the button, and it'll ask you for your address, and we'll send it to you. We really have had a lot of success with that. Cow pies and coffee cups, my blog weekly. Don't forget Zeb at the Ranch. Tune in 8:06 Monday through Thursday on KBAR 1230 a.m. and streaming live on the internet all over the world on ZebBell.com. And remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless.